And this is
CheesePress Publishing. And we write curriculum, history specifically. We are in the process of releasing ancient history. And you can find those things on our website, CheesePressPublishing.com.
My word.
No, I was looking at pictures while I was doing this.
No, now the thing that I am going to hope the audience with, now that we've figured out who our guest is, part of what was throwing me from the outfit is, other than the hair, this is something I would expect to see you in a normal day.
Yeah, that
Like
is
this
extremely
came
fair.
straight out of your closet.
It did. All of this came out of my closet.
I just told someone at lunch because we were talking about something with a historical leaning, like an age around the time Frankenstein was written.
Mm-hmm.
And I could kind of pull the year, and I'm like, I know because my daughter has a Victorian sensibility. This is my daughter.
And they did not know. Really, they didn't know.
Though, I was about to give a stranger your cup.
Yep. It
She
was
did
the one
say
that was
that.
back there. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to put this here.
I tried to answer within the spirits of those quotes.
That's fair.
That's amazing. Well, that really, really stumped me. If we hadn't gotten down to how many syllables and starts with a vowel, we would have been here. We would have been here for so long.
I was considering some others, but I was like, no, this one, she'll get this too early. Mira will definitely get this one. And so I was like, who will they know, but we'll take them a minute.
I live in Black history and she lives in women's history a lot.
Yeah.
Also gotten us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's actually, you filling this role probably makes the most sense of anybody because you do know both of us well enough. I've survived.
And it fits perfectly because we just left Black History Month and now we're in Women's History Month.
We are.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I chose Ida.
That's fair.
I was like, what?
That
let me throw-
intimate knowledge.
I was like, let me throw a dart right in between your time periods.
Yep.
Oh
Because you know where the gaps in information are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
That's fair.
crazy. And it's so crazy because I study Frederick Douglass so intimately. But there's a gap in his life after he gets to watch
Mm-hmm.
from Abraham Lincoln's life. After Abraham Lincoln dies and he gets to watch. He disappears for a while for me. And then he lands in New York and marries a white woman.
So, but then also that time period, so you've got the suffragette movement, and it's
Mhm.
filled with historical women.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start looking at the very early race movements,
Mm-hmm.
you hear way more about the men than you do about the women.
So much.
A surprising amount of white men, too, who are just sort of like, you know what I'm tired of?
Yeah. Well, at some and thank God for this. At some point, people start to realize that the reason the separation of the races exists is to keep the poor white man quiet. And so, if we have him focused on Black people, then we can be over here doing whatever we want as wealthier white people.
Yes, Jen.
So there comes a point where your average to poor white man who's never had slaves starts to go, wait a minute. You know, and so the more religious ones, the Quakers and people of that nature, started going, no, I don't like what's happening here.
Yes. Jordan, I've always, people know right from wrong,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's culturally acceptable. Many a time have there been people like, this seems actively wild to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And people generally let things go because it's easier,
Mm-hmm.
but it's things like slavery don't sit right in people's spirits unless they are used to it.
Or people convince themselves wholeheartedly of things that are not fact.
Yes.
Well,
Because when you're looking at slavery, you had people who truly at their core believed the happy slave trope, where we are doing
Yeah.
this service to people, and therefore it is in line with my values to help these less fortunate people who would not be able to exist without their slave masters.
so understand that a great deal of dehumanization
Yes.
has to happen for an entire society to believe something this atrocious. For example, Nazi Germany. They spent a good 100 years
Building up to that.
dehumanizing
Jewish people.
Jewish people. Pogroms, ghettos is not a Black American word. Pogroms were riots against Jewish, and ghettos are where they put them,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And so we get into American slavery. Understand, it took 3 generations to go from indentured servitude to Black racism. Because in the beginning, everybody who someone paid their way was a servant or a slave for 7 years. And then somebody was like, nah, I want to let them go. They were good. You know, and sued them because the person was like 7 years, peace out. And they were like, nah, you staying. And so they went to court and the slave owner won. And then the next step was, okay, so we can tell white slaves from black slaves. It's really hard. It was more work to keep a white man a slave because he looked like everybody else. So if we attach slavery to a race, now when a black person's sneaking off, you'd be like, where you going? It took 3 generations to get there. So say I'm the grandfather and I'm hanging out where I've got all these indentured slaves. Then my son's like, nah, I'm gonna keep that one. And then by the time my grandchild is born, he's keeping them all. It took that long for us to get from point A to point C.
Yeah, so now though, I'm kind of feeling like the information age and global connectivity has shortened that time frame, very likely. Because what we are actively experiencing right now has not been 3 generations in the making.
It's been 3
Maybe 2
presidential
at most.
terms.
Yeah. Well, some of the rhetoric started with the 24-hour news cycle.
Yes.
Oh well, that's it.
Yeah,
But that's only
I would also point out
30
that
years.
Facebook is instrumental in more than one genocide in different countries because they use Facebook as if it is Google. So the spread of misinformation has exponentially.
And all it takes is information with just enough fact in it.
Yeah, it is
for people to catch on to.
the
You need a little bit of truth to tell it.
It's the
a lie
misinformation
well.
and the dehumanization. Generally, it's if you can other a people group fast enough.
How fast can you other somebody?
I think
unfortunately that's much
faster.
I was like
That
the
was
genocides
rhetorical.
that Facebook caused about 15 years, 10.
So what used to take 100 years.
Yeah. Oh, the internet.
Beautiful tool and terrible weapon.
That's very poetic.
That was.
For us for today.
But you well, and guys, if you're watching this, if you like this segment, please give it a thumbs up, and also let us know who you would like for them to interview next, because I will be surfing through those comments and I might just take your suggestion. Or if you have a suggestion of what you would like to see on the channel, please leave that in the comment. But otherwise, if you really like this content and you would like to see us continue, please give this video a thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button, because when you watch it, you subscribe, you give it a thumbs up, even if you comment, it really does help the channel, and we greatly appreciate that, and we would love to do way more for you, so we need your support. Yay!
So until next time.
Until next time.